The Elimination Chamber has come and gone, and we can actually start to focus on the build to WrestleMania. And listen, for the past month, myself and the rest of the wrestling community have said it doesn't feel like the road to WrestleMania. There's no hype at all. And I'm not saying I got that WrestleMania feeling. I'm not even close to being there yet. They've got a lot of work to do, does WWE. But to get to that first step of the right direction, this was a good way to get back to that. Because tonight, this was a really good show. Tonight's Monday Night Raw after Elimination Chamber was a really good show. There was a lot to like on this show. You had some things that I didn't like on the show, and we'll get there. That Jey Uso return absolutely aggravated me. But there was a lot of things to like on this show. Some big things going into this show was Roman Reigns returning again. And coming out of tonight, you have Punk say what he did at the end of the show, saying not only is he going to beat Roman, he's going to bury him. And when he's done with him at WrestleMania, he's going to bury him next to his father, who just died like last year. I'm sorry, but there's... After that line, I find it hard to believe that Roman Reigns is not walking out of WrestleMania with this championship. And I don't want that to be the case. I don't want Roman Reigns to be a world champion in 2026. I don't want a part-time world champion on Monday Night Raw. But, I mean, you can't have him you can't have Punk bury his father like that and then have him lose at WrestleMania. You can't do that. So they've kind of backed themselves up into a corner with that one, but I mean, to have that said about your father and then lose against the guy that said he was going to bury you next to your father, I feel like that would be just a horrible look for Roman Reigns. And then the other big thing going into tonight, and the best thing on the show, was Penta versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. And it took a Danhausen curse to Dominic Mysterio for Penta to finally win this Intercontinental Championship. 7th time is the charm. You know how they say 3rd time's the charm? You don't get it done the first time, okay? Whatever. You get it again, alright, we just need to... It's getting annoying. We need to try harder. 3rd time is the charm. This time, 7th time was the charm for Penta, because he had lost 6 matches for the Intercontinental Championship with Dominic Mysterio as the champion. 7th time is the charm. I'm happy for him. I love Penta. I had a TikTok video about him about a month ago, blow up to over 15,000 views, and how the guy's world championship material. He debuted in WWE over a year ago, coming over from AEW, and it's about damn time this guy has gold around his waist. This probably means his poor brother Ray Phoenix is not going to be on the card this year at WrestleMania, but I'm really happy to see Penta as the Intercontinental Champion, and it certainly seems like to me now that Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio is not going to be for the championship, and that was the story of the match, and we'll get to that when we get there, and we got a lot to talk about. I originally wasn't going to do a review tonight. I didn't even think I was going to be able to watch this show. But after like such a long day here in Tampa, um, a very nice, relaxing day at the beach, the pool, going out, getting some wings. Figured out, you know what? Had a very nice day. Got some sun. You guys can't see, but I got some sunburn on me in March. I was staying and see if this jolly old show is good for once. And maybe we just needed to get past the Elimination Chamber. I don't know. But we might as well get started. So if you guys haven't already, be sure to go ahead and check out the Elimination Chamber review. If you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and check out the Elimination Chamber review from Saturday. I will leave that in the last 20 seconds of this podcast. All you got to do when you get there is click on it, and it'll take you right to that podcast. And then just another programming note. I didn't think I was going to be here tonight, but I am here. But Wednesday, I will not be here. I'm going to the Sixers game Wednesday night with my girlfriend, and I will not be reviewing AEW on Wednesday night. I know they have Thunder Rosa versus Tekla for the AEW Women's Championship, and the main event is Kevin Knight versus MJF for the AEW World Championship. I will not be watching that on Wednesday. And I probably won't even be watching Dynamite at all this week. So we'll see how they do with the recaps the week after for me. So that is that. And let's go ahead and get into the show, man. So you got the introduction, and they go right to the vision. No entrance. And I start rolling my eyes because they're still pushing this group, even without Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed there because they're both injured. So Heyman introduces Austin Theory. He then introduces Logan Paul as the most entertaining, most famous, humble human being in the world. And he says what happened to him on Saturday night wasn't right, and he was stolen the opportunity. Austin Theory then took the mic, and he said, not only did he steal an opportunity from Logan, he stole the main event of WrestleMania from Logan Paul this year. And Austin Theory said him and Seth go way back. They go back years and years and years. And this is personal for him now. And then Logan Paul takes the mic and he says, Seth, you effing... he didn't say that. He said, Seth, you freaking douchebag. He said, I hate your song. Oh no, it was Paul Heyman who hated his song. I don't remember what Logan was saying. But he's cutting a promo, and Adam Pearce, he comes out, tells him, he was saying he's going to hijack the show. Show won't begin until Seth Rollins comes out here and takes the ass beating he deserves. Adam Pearce comes out, says, you will not be hijacking my show. You will not be trying to do this again. A masked man comes out. And then another masked man comes out to distract security. So security go to chase that masked man. And then you have another one appearing from the corner. And Austin Theory goes to chase that one. And then Logan and Paul Heyman look around. And there's another masked man coming over from the left. And Logan goes and chases that masked man. And then Paul Heyman is all in the ring by himself. And there is a masked man coming up the aisleway, face to face with Paul Heyman. And then finally, the one standing from behind him, he takes his mask off. And it is Seth Rollins again. Chair shot from the back. And then he gives Heyman a curb stomp. So Paul Heyman took a bump for the first time since June of 2024 when he took a Shield powerbomb in Madison Square Garden from Solo, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tongaloa. Taking a Shield powerbomb from those guys about a year and a half ago. First time since then, Paul Heyman takes a bump. He comes up all bleeding. He's got some color on him. They come back from commercial. He's in the ambulance truck as Theory and Logan Paul are just finding him. And they're going to meet Heyman at the hospital. Another car comes in. It's pretended to be an Uber. But the driver was Jimmy Uso, who then takes out Theory. And then Jimmy Uso goes to see the ambulance driver. And the ambulance driver was LA Knight. I thought this was a very good start to the show. I enjoyed this. I thought this was a very good segment. This is clearly a faction building because Seth Rollins is not the only masked guy running around this building. So I do feel like this is going to be a faction that Seth is building again to go up against the Vision. And I could see this playing out where you are going to be seeing Seth Rollins interacting with Logan Paul, Austin Theory, Braun Breaker when he comes back, and Paul Heyman for a very, very, very long time. And the report is that it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul at Vegas this year at WrestleMania. I mean, it should be a pretty good match. They had a fantastic match at WrestleMania 39 3 years ago. And Logan Paul is a better wrestler now than he was 3 years ago. So I do think they're going to have a really good match. I just don't know who's going to care about it because we've already seen it. I think it'll be good. I like Seth Rollins a lot. I like Logan Paul too. Despite the fact that I think he's being absolutely forced down our throats right now, I do like Logan Paul. And I think they will have a really good match at WrestleMania. But that is apparently the report right now. And we'll see where they take us. But I thought it was a very good segment to open up the show. We had Dragon Lee versus Gunther. And I thought this was, again, very good match. And the only thing I hated about this match was the fact that it wasn't on the freaking pay-per-view Saturday. This would have absolutely been better on Elimination Chamber than on Raw. It would have been way better to have been on that show instead of what we got with Danhausen and the 40 minutes, okay? 40 minutes between Finn Balor and CM Punk and the men's Elimination Chamber match. So, we got a boot from Dragon. He tried to clothesline Gunther twice, got him stable. Gunther went for a clothesline. Backed body drop Dragon Lee, who was supposed to land on his feet. Dragon Lee with a Insaguri. And he went for a corner drop kick onto Gunther. So these guys worked very well together. And I thought their build deserved a PLE match. And it ended up getting the first match of Monday Night Raw, which is an absolute bummer. And the ending came where Gunther went for 2 power bombs, and he lifted up Dragon Lee to go powerbomb him on the apron, which he did, and then to go powerbomb him on the announce table, which he did, and then he went to go powerbomb him on the outside floor, and Dragon Lee ended up hitting a sunset flip, and then he hit his finisher, the Dragon Operator, and this was such a good sequence where Dragon countered the power bomb, hit his finisher, and the ref is counting, and Dragon Lee goes back into the ring, and I thought Dragon Lee was gonna win this match by countout. And they had me. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's not a pinfall win, but Dragon Lee is about to beat Gunther. And Gunther got back in the ring at 9. He went for it again. He got caught in the sleeper. And Gunther got desperate while in the sleeper because Dragon Lee was fighting out of it. So what did he do? He just ripped his mask off. Gunther rips off Dragon Lee's mask, and Dragon Lee tapped out very quickly. So, no post-match, just a clean win from Gunther. It was a very good match. The crowd chanted, "This was awesome." And these guys had great chemistry. And again, my only complaint about this was that it should have been on Elimination Chamber. And the Danhausen reveal should have happened tonight. So they should have swapped places with that one. So Gunther wins, and we'll see what he has going for him with 7 weeks until WrestleMania. AJ Lee cut a promo. I'm sorry, she's not entertaining. She's not a good promo. She pauses for so long after every sentence. Crowd chants, you still got it. I just don't find her promos to be good at all, man. I just don't see it. So, basically, the point of this segment was for AJ to tell the crowd that, unlike Becky, which Becky did have matches on TV, so she was kind of a fighting champion for a little bit. But she tells the crowd in Indianapolis, I'm going to be a fighting champion. And I'm not going to wait till WrestleMania to defend my title, because the next time I'm standing in a ring, I will be defending the Intercontinental Championship. So there's a ton of matchups that I want with those ladies backstage. So if you want to wrestle your favorite wrestler for your favorite championship, which that line was so bad, come get it, ladies. So they've had segments the whole night of Io going into Adam Pearce's office, and Bailey and Lyra going into Adam Pearce's office. So next week, there's a gauntlet. We have Lyra Valkyria, Bailey, Io Sky, Raquel Rodriguez, Asuka, and Ivy Nile. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Raquel Rodriguez wins this gauntlet next week. She had a very good performance in the Elimination Chamber. She was Final Four in the Women's Royal Rumble. She had a pretty good street fight with Stephanie Vaquer, so she has been continuously been in these big situations such as Royal Rumble, the match with Stephanie in Philadelphia, Elimination Chamber. So I think they're gonna give Raquel this match next week, and AJ's first challenger is gonna be Raquel Rodriguez. So that's where I think they're going with this. I could very much be wrong, but we'll see what happens. Original El Grande Americano versus Rayo Americano. I don't really care about this. The original one with a German suplex. It was fine. It was okay. They're just gonna try to do the same stuff that they've had for weeks: is rip each other's mask off, and that's not compelling television to me. I don't find that interesting. Um, this is a great feud for AAA, and both Americanos are going to be in a match together, like Rayo de Delayas or something like that, next Saturday in AAA in some fatal four-way where the winner gets a sword and becomes number one contender to the AAA Mega Championship to face Dominic Mysterio. And again, the thing that I did find out, and this goes to original Grande being a heel in Mexico. In Mexico, he wore a black mask, and in America, he wore red, white, and blue, and the imposter El Grande Americano wore a black and gold mask. So they're switching gimmicks. They're switching characters, or personalities, if you want to call it, whichever state they're in. We got a video package. I can't even remember what it was. And then Rusev. Oh, it was a video package recapping Obafemi versus The Miz, which, who the fuck wants to remember that? And Rusev came out, and he said, "I'm tired of all the fight, the talk, and the words from the ruler. If you say what you really are, you'll come out here and fight me right now." And I'm sitting there and I'm like, sure, this is fine. They got this big brawl. Obafemi laid him out with a clothesline over the top rope. Rusev was pissed. I'm like, sure, this is fine. But I can't possibly take this serious because Rusev has been booked like a complete geek since he's been back. He's barely been on television since November. He wrestled Penta and Dominic Mysterio on the November 1st edition of Raw, or the November 1st edition of Saturday Night's Main Event. And he probably had a match on Raw here and there. I don't really know. But, I've watched every Raw this year besides one episode, which was the second Raw of the year. I've watched every single episode, and this guy hasn't been on one episode of Raw, besides last week backstage, and this week with this segment here. And they announced it for next week in Seattle. It is going to be Obafemi versus Rusev, and I can't take this serious because how they've been booking Rusev since November. And I expect Obafemi to beat Rusev in about 5 minutes next week. And then Rusev will go back to wrestling Raheem Wild on Main Event. But okay. We had Jimmy Uso versus Austin Theory. This shit pissed me off. This was the worst thing on the entire show. Again, this show tonight, Raw, was really good. This was by far the worst thing on this show. We got about a 4-minute match. with Jimmy and Austin Theory until Logan Paul got involved. It was 2-on-1 until out of nowhere, out came Jey Uso. Yeah, Jey Uso came out, and he came out with crutches, and then all of a sudden, he's fine. He's running wild. He's hitting Logan Paul with the crutch. He's clotheslining Logan Paul over the top rope with the crutch. He's yeeting with the crowd. This guy was buried under equipment 2 days ago. This guy was taken out of the Elimination Chamber 2 days ago with a vicious attack. Gurneyed into an ambulance. Undisclosed injuries. And 2 days later, he's fine. He must have had the biggest miracle in the world. He must have really been blessed this weekend. So that wasn't good at all. That was absolutely ridiculous. Rhea Ripley and Io cut a promo. This was basically them splitting up. They won the tag team titles. They lost the tag team titles, I'm sorry. There is beef with Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. It's probably worked, but I haven't been paying attention to it online. I have no interest in finding out what the beef is, so I will just find out for myself Friday night on SmackDown. I'm sure they will talk about it there. I'm sure we will get really deep and really personal on Friday night. So they have officially moved Rhea Ripley over to SmackDown to feud with Jade Cargill, and Io is staying on Monday Night Raw. Rhea said she is going to win the WWE Women's Championship for Io, and she said to the camera, Jade Cargill, I will see you Friday night face to face, and trust me, I have a lot to say. There you go. They're setting the stage Friday night for Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill while breaking up Rhea Ripley and Io Sky in a friendly way without doing a heel turn or anything. So this brings up to Penta versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. And before we got there, we had a backstage segment with Adam Pearce just getting off the phone with Nick Aldis, and Danhausen was there. And he said hello to Stone Cold Steve Austin. He called Adam Pearce Stone Cold. He said, after a thunderous applause at Elimination Chamber, Danhausen has a list of Demandhausens, which is a blimp, a Hall of Fame induction, a personal assistant, a Triple H pointing picture, which I personally laughed out loud for that one. I thought that was funny. I'm not going to lie. I thought that one was funny with the Triple H pointing picture. And then Adam Pearce was like, why is the paper soggy? And Danhausen said, well, I dropped it in the toilet. And Judgment Day walked by. So Adam Pearce was like, Judgment Day, you got to meet Danhausen. we have to meet Danhausen here. So, um, he said hello to Finn, hello to Dom. He did not know who JD McDonough was. So JD got offended by that, and then Dom said, "It's not so nice to meet you." And Danhausen got offended by that. He said, "Not so nice to me. Well, you are cursed." So Danhausen's first victim was Dominic Mysterio. And this was right before Dominic went to defend the Intercontinental Championship against Penta. So we have Dominic versus Penta here. And Penta is going for the Mexican Destroyer. Dominic caught him into a Falcon Arrow, and Penta kicked out at a very close near fall. Looked great. Dominic then stood him up, kicked him to the ropes, and he was able to connect on the 619 to Penta and went to the top rope. He got caught by Penta right into the sacrifice, which is his signature move, the arm bend backwards. He then hit Penta driver right in the middle of the ring, and Dominic kicked out. So then Dominic countered a move from Penta. I don't know what it was. But then Dominic went to JD and Finn Balor, who was sitting on the outside. And Dom was like, "Go get me the ring hammer. Get me the ring hammer." So JD went to go get his friend the ring hammer. And Finn Balor was like, no, don't do it. He said he was going to do it on his own. Let him do it on his own. You're not going to give him the hammer because he's going to do it on his own. Penta would then hit the Tope Corrido on the outside. And Dom was stressing. Dom went to grab Penta. Penta gave him a Pele kick. And then he went for a Destroyer. He missed. Dom went for the 619. He missed. Swung back. Penta hit a Destroyer. Penta is the new Intercontinental Champion in a great match. Go out of your way to watch it if you haven't already. It was a great match. And the story was, earlier in the night, Dominic told Finn Balor that he's going to do it on his own, but he wants them to be there for when he wins and retains against Penta. So the story was, Finn told JD not to do the hammer, not to give him the hammer, because he said he was going to do it on his own. And he failed. So now next week he's going to be pissed. So we'll see what happens next week. And then the main event angle was Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Roman Reigns told Indianapolis to acknowledge him. And CM Punk immediately interrupted him. And every time in this promo, Roman was directing something, he said, he didn't call him Punk. He called him Phil. Every time he directed it to him, he called him Phil. And I like that. It makes it more personal. And Roman said, "Did my tweet hurt your feelings this weekend, Phil?" And he said, "No, but, you're right. I am tired. Because for 7 weeks I gotta carry your bullshit all the way to WrestleMania." He's not even going to be there all the week, so he's got nothing to worry about. And Roman was like, the only reason I picked you, I do hate you, but the reason I picked you is because you are the champion. He said, "We brought you back here to entertain the 30 and 40-year-old virgins that live with their mom and dad, and to sell a couple t-shirts, to sell out an arena like you did on Saturday in Chicago. We didn't bring you back here to be a world champion. He said, you're not CM Punk. You're just a punk ass bitch. And then Roman was like, you know, at WrestleMania, I'm going to ruin this fairy tale that you have right here. He said, I'm going to beat you so bad that I'm going to give you your own farewell tour, just like John Cena. We're going to send you off to retirement. And he was talking about him and his cousins. He's like, we're going to send you off to retirement. We're going to send you off to retirement. And then after that, we're going to send you down to NXT. And you're going to coach up the next generation of talent and get them the best that they can be. And then when they're ready to come up here, you send them up here to Monday Night Raw, and they get smashed by the tribal chief. And then they go back into obscurity. And Punk's like, well, now you're threatening to me that you're going to make me retire. He said, I'm not just going to beat you at WrestleMania now. I'm going to bury you. And then after WrestleMania, I'm going to bury you right next to your father. That was crazy. So now, Roman's not advertised for the show next week. Roman's going to be in San Antonio in 2 weeks. And I expect them to be... They're going to have their first physical interaction in San Antonio. Calling it now, they're going to get physical. That's the next step. Make the match official was step 1. Make it personal was step 2. The match is personal now. Punk made it personal. He crossed the line. So, that is your Monday Night Raw review. A lot to like from the show. The opening with the Vision, Dragon Lee versus Gunther, Penta Dominic, the Roman CM Punk angle. There's a lot to like. And I thought for the first time in a while on TV, WWE had a really good show. Really good episode of Raw tonight. So I will catch you guys Friday. Okay? Subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what you thought of tonight's Monday Night Raw. And subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Colin_Joseph. I'll see you guys Friday night for SmackDown. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy. And I'm out. Peace.